Hello viewers and a warm welcome to Camnet TV World News. I'm your presenter Namwinga. We now look at the news headlines. Backlash looms between PF youths and protesters on 22nd June 2020. Bill 10 supporters attack Catholic Church. Poor drainage system irks Ballaston residents. In foreign news, Atlanta police chief resigns after the shooting of another black man. And in sports, FAS praises members of staff on soon-to-be implemented FIFA DTMs. We now take a break. Don't go away.
Dr. Bigron, musaibala komutienda ukuni gift na land. Uchenkubeti uibise mojo basayone. Oh! Mwina mochi, nakuletera njinga. Latest inaluvesi gear na mawaipa.
Gift code chidi ya shidi ya njinga. Liam 19 pendef code. Transport, we got it.
Nanga phone for communication. Ipu sana chizungu. Yeah, you see what I mean?
It's a Camnet difficult.
It's communication. We got it. Indemo
powerful system ndimba X-Buzz.
Mufumile kukalale. Na mnaimo muri bakumushi. We got it. Yo Bigron, utole no leta nchemfule mungali. Get you watch the post and change. 1, 2, 3. Both of you. Kabala ngempang. Don't be stupid. We got it.
Another news in detail. A 63-year-old woman of Lusaka's Zingalume compound agonizing with a tumor on her face says poverty has made her not to access medical help. Eselita Banda says had she had money like others, her condition could have been attended to, but lack of finances has made her to continue suffering as her tumor continues to grow. And her daughter, Mrs. Banda, says makes a passionate appeal for any assistance towards her mother's well-being. We have more in this report. The Sustainable Developmental Goals, SDGs, also known as the Global Goals, which were adopted by the UN member states in 2015 as a universal call to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030, are all integrated. This means that the action in one area will affect outcomes in others. Simply put, development must balance socio-economic and environmental sustainability. In simple terms, when one developmental goal is lagging behind, it will be hard for the nation to develop. This is the case for 63-year-old Eselita Banda of Lusaka's Zingalume area. Mrs. Banda has been suffering from a facial tumor for years now and is not getting any better as her health keeps going down each day. Eselita has been to the hospital several times before she gave up 9 months ago due to what she terms as the slow pace by the University Teaching Hospital UTH, which in turn drained her daughter, Jen Mwanza, of all the little money she had. Mrs. Mwanza, a widow and a guardian of 9 dependents in her home, including her sick mother, admits that she had tried all she could to help her mother feel comfortable despite her condition. She explains that her mother gave up going to the hospital after being told that she was not fit for an operation due to lack of blood, which she alleged that the medical staff were afraid that she would die in their hands. When asked if she still received blood later on, Mrs. Mwanza says she did, but was still told that it wasn't enough to help her go through an operation. As of now, she is unable to have a balanced meal as she only depends on liquids and fine foods, but with difficulties in chewing. Eselita Banda has continued to be bedridden from home while her health keeps deteriorating. It is therefore vital that people going through Eselita's situation or worse are not left behind the country's SDGs. Reporting for Camnet Television in Lusaka, Zambia, Namwinga. Republican Progressive Party RPP President James Lukuku has condemned a directive by ruling Patriotic Front Secretary General Davis Mwela to party members to and his party members to fully get involved in issuance of national registration cards and voter registration. While on the Copper Belt, Mr. Mwila said voter registration and NRC issuance is a party program which every member must fully get involved in. But Mr. Lukuku says Mr. Mwale's statement is tantamount to directing his members to get involved in rigging through buying of voter cards and NRCs. Mr. Lukuku has since advised Mr. Mwila to choose his words carefully, considering that he is a senior member of the government party. He says Mr. Mwila must know that his statements are carefully scrutinized, especially as the country draws closer to the 2021 general elections. We have more in this report.
The mandate to issue national registration cards and the registration of voters is known to be the duty of the Electoral Commission of Zambia (ECZ) and the Ministry of Home Affairs in preparation for the forthcoming 2021 general elections. Now, a video has circulated showing the Patriotic Front PF Secretary General Davis Mwila calling on Patriotic Front members to get involved in the issuance of NRCs and the voter registration exercise to ensure that the Patriotic Front has the numbers in the upcoming general elections in 2021. The Secretary General also said the two activities are supposed to be programs of the Patriotic Front Party. The Secretary General said this when he visited Mufulira district on the 13th of this month.
I'm arranged. Let's take our children and get NRCs. October, we'll start voter registration. Voter registration and NRCs, it will be a party program. The party must get involved. From all the structures, from the branches, wards, constituents, district, province, up to the secretariat, we have to get involved. All of us, it must be our program. And we have to succeed and ensure that we have the numbers next year.
Now, the Republican Progressive Party RPP President James Lukuku says this is just another recipe for the Patriotic Front to rig the 2021 general elections. Mr. Lukuku told Camnet TV in a phone call interview that he is saddened that the Patriotic Front are doing everything possible to make sure they rig the 2021 general elections.
We are very, very disappointed with the attitude of the PF Secretary General. That is telling us that the issuance of NRCs and the voters registration process supposed to be undertaken by respective political parties. I think that is something that is very, very disappointing, especially it's coming from a Secretary General of a political party in power. Because one, the tradition of multipartism from 1991 is that the Electoral Commission of Zambia have been responsible for ensuring that all eligible voters, first of all, do the acquisition of respective national registration cards. Secondly, the Ministry of Home Affairs have always been tasked with the process of going around, ensure that all eligible voters get their NRCs. The other thing that the Electoral Commission of Zambia have done is to make sure that all of the people that they've got national registration cards have been accorded responsibility of registering as voters. That's what has always been the trend. That's what has always been the history of Zambian politics. So that invention, that introduction by the PF Secretary General is very, very retrogressive, and it is a recipe for electoral corruption. It is a recipe for rigging of elections of a republic. And so we reject that responsibility that must be taxed to respective political parties. And we say again, and we reiterate that the Electoral Commission of Zambia should take up both responsibilities of ensuring eligible voters obtain their NRCs and they do the registration as voters.
Mr. Lukuku wondered why the Patriotic Front want to make the registration of voters and the issuance of national registration cards as a party program when they are aware that only the Electoral Commission of Zambia SZ and government through the Ministry of Home Affairs is supposed to do such activities. Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
And that was Constance Mwemba giving us a report. The Ministry of General Education says in-service teachers enrolled at Nkrumah University will only write their examinations in August 2020. Ministry of General Education Permanent Secretary Jobix Kalumba says the reopening of examination classes under the Ministry of General Education has called for strict adherence to the health guidelines provided by the Ministry of Health. He disclosed that discussions held between the Ministry of General Education and the Ministry of Higher Learning Education have resolved that all the teachers enrolled as in-service teachers at Nkrumah University will only write their examination in August 2020. In order to avoid disrupting the academic calendar of the examination classes. Dr. Kalumba stated that the decision has been arrived at having looked at how the grades 7, 9, and 12 who are preparing for their final examinations would be affected should the in-service teachers be made to leave the schools where they are stationed. He advised that other details pertaining to the matter will be communicated to later. This story is courtesy of Patriotic Front PF-sponsored Facebook page Smart Egos. Monze Town Council in Southern Province has started handing over the soft adaptation empowerment projects to clubs and cooperatives who are beneficiaries of the government-sponsored Strengthening Climate Resilience in the Kafue sub-basin in Wengwa constituency. The empowerment pack includes 10,000 fish fingerlings and vegetable seedlings. Monze District Administrative Officer Goret Balo has since advised the beneficiaries to own the community empowerment projects aimed at improving their living standards. Ms. Balo says people's lives can only improve if they begin to effectively utilize opportunities given to them. We have more in this report. 14th June 2020 marks a joyous day for Wengwa constituency in Monze Southern Province as the livelihood of communities in each respective ward will be uplifted. Monze Town Council has begun handing over the soft adaptation empowerment projects to clubs and cooperatives who are beneficiaries of the government-sponsored Strengthening Climate Resilience in the Kafue sub-basin, Skrika, in the constituency. The handover, which had been earmarked for March 2020, only commenced 14 days ago due to some matters arising from the COVID-19 pandemic, which halted most economic activities globally.
Monze District Administration, working with the local authority and other stakeholders in the district, under the Climate Change Project, SCRICA, has started handing over the soft adaptation empowerment projects to beneficiaries, that is, clubs and cooperatives, respectively. These are government-sponsored projects. All the projects are sitting in 3 different wards of Wengwa constituency. The handover should have been done in March at the month end, but due to some challenges as a result of COVID-19 that halted most activities on sites, only commenced 2 weeks ago. I'm proud to say that we have handed over 10,000 fingerlings to Mansangu and Monzwe clubs and vegetable seedlings, and all the gardens are doing extremely well from the 2 project sites. I want to make an appeal to the 2 communities to guard the projects jealously and ensure that the project uplifts the lives of the people in the 2 respective communities. We have done our part as government, and we want to see commitment from the community. We also want to see benefits trickle down to women and youth especially. These are community projects we do not want individuals to start personalizing these projects. We want to see diverse farming, from crop agriculture and animal agriculture to fish farming, poultry farming, and goat keeping. This is a deliberate move because we do not want our farmers to suffer the way they suffered the time we had challenges with the rains in the region, which was followed by foot and mouth disease. Let us not put all our eggs in one basket. Hence, diverse is encouraged in this case. Monzwe and Mansangu received 5,000 fingerlings each. Other clubs that have received some soft adaptation empowerment are Moya and Mutahi deep tanks, with 70 liters of dipping chemicals each. I also urge you to look after all these projects. They are yours.
The district implementation team, headed by the district administrative officer, Goret Balo, together with the heads of economic sectors in the district, have handed over fish fingerings and vegetable seedlings to Monzwe and Mansangu clubs, which will help sustain their economic activities. Reporting for Camnet Television in Monze, Zambia, Namwenga Mwenga. The World Bank has agreed that it will extend budget support to Zambia once the country gets on a program path with the International Monetary Fund, IMF. World Bank Vice President for the African region, Dr. Hafez Ghanem, says this when he held virtual talks with Finance Minister Dr. Bwali Ngandu last week. During the meeting, Dr. Ngandu cited debt sustainability issues as the backbone of what has dictated previous and current engagements with the IMF. The Finance Minister since took the opportunity to appeal to the World Bank for advisory support of Zambia's preparations for the virtual consultative and information exchange mission with the IMF scheduled for 22nd June 2020. And following a question raised by Dr. Ghanem on a loan signed with a Chinese lender, the minister clarified that Zambia has not signed any loan worth over $800 million with any Chinese lender for a railway construction project, as implied by some sections of the media. He emphasized that the memorandum of understanding signed by a representative of the Transport Line Ministry does not constitute any loan agreement. We now take a break. Don't go away.
You know I can take her a bit.
Yes, my dear.
I was thinking of getting you a Bugatti for your birthday.
Really?
I'm quiet. My name is Yana.
Don't worry, man. That's why there is insurance.
Insurance?
You've heard me.
Not just any kind of insurance, but Savenda General Insurance, a company that offers superior customer service, highly professional and dedicated staff. We are not just any insurance company, but an insurance company that actually pays our claims. We cover, among others, fire, marine, aviation, engineering, agriculture, motor vehicle, and miscellaneous insurance. So, live life to the full, knowing that Savenda General Insurance has got you covered. Savenda General Insurance. Insurance excellence.
Can I have that meal over there? And I really want that crisp, fresh apple taste from the garden. Can I have happy apple?
I think I'll have my big bite 2 meal with happy waziwaka. Give us your
Enjoy an appetizing big bite meal with an happy drink of your choice. A meal is not a meal without an happy drink. And now introducing Happy in a can.
To increase sales of your products and services, advertise on Camnet TV. Reach your clients and target markets directly and see your business grow. For special rates, you can contact our marketing department on
0955 664 305 or 0978 290 626. Camnet TV.
Not just another channel.
You're still watching Camnet TV World News, and now we continue with the rest of the news. The Zambia Republican Party, RPZ, has advised the Catholic Church against using the veil of the pulpit to champion its own political agenda. ZRP President Wright Musoma says the Catholic bishops championing the no vote against Bill 10 must leave politics to politicians and concentrate on church matters. Mr. Musoma has since accused the Catholic Church of practicing partisan politics. He has meanwhile asked youths planning to protest against government to state what exactly the PF government has taken away from them. Mr. Musoma says the PF is on course with regard to the management of the affairs of the country. More follow in this report. The issue of Amendment Bill number 10 has continued to spark a huge debate among government officials, various stakeholders, the church and members of the public. The bill, which passed the first reading and most likely to be tabled soon due to some of its strong support, received controversy from the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops, which further called for its immediate withdrawal on grounds that it was retrogressive. The call by the Catholic Church has not been received well by the Zambian Republican Party. RPZ leader Wright Musoma has challenged the bishops who stood against the bill to leave the church in the interest of politics.
We find it mind-boggling as Zambia Republican Party that some Catholic bishops want to tarnish the good name of the church, which has stood by Zambians since time immemorial on issue of governance, by siding with some opposition political party leaders who have refused to be part of the process. We are wondering what agenda these few bishops have with some opposition political parties that they now seem Bill 10 to be evil, yet after the UPND lost their presidential election petition in 2016, the same bishops called for the refinement of the constitution to get rid of the lacunas which was there.
Mr. Musoma has since convinced the public that Bill number 10 was progressive and that the citizens and other stakeholders should desist from listening to alleged UPND radicals, further accusing Mr. Hakainde Hichilema of misleading the nation on the Bill number 10.
Bill 10 is very progressive. Contentious clauses have been adequately dealt with, and we ask the UPND MPs to put partisan interests aside and look at the bigger picture by supporting Bill 10 and pass it into law. It's time they refuse to be bound by any and progressive directives from their leader Hakainde Hichilema, because it does not mean well for this country. We all know that.
Speaking during a press briefing in Lusaka today, the ZRP leader also challenged the youths planning a protest over shrinking freedom of speech being highly discussed, to point out which mine was sold to foreigners, which government official is involved in corruption and why they haven't been dealt with, and finally, which shrinking freedom of speech has been withdrawn and by whom.
On the hoodlums who have been hired to protest against government over the alleged corruption, the selling of gold mines to foreigners, and shrinking freedom of speech in Zambia, our humble appeal to the police is not to tolerate such acrimonious activities from anyone. People must stop engaging in illegal activities when there is no cause. As ZRP, we challenge them to point at which gold mine has been sold to the Chinese. We challenge them to point at any government official involved in corruption and has been shielded. We challenge them to tell us what freedom have been taken away from them and by who.
Mr. Wright Musoma has called for police to deal with what he has termed as acrimonious youths planning to protest over exercising their rights. Reporting for Camnet Television in Lusaka, Zambia, Namwinga Mwinga. And responding to the ZRP president's accusations that opposition political party leaders are sponsoring youths to protest, Democratic Party President Harry Kalaba says his party does not engage in illegal means. Mr. Kalaba has challenged Mr. Musoma to provide evidence to the effect that the opposition are behind the protesting youths are behind the protests youths are planning to conduct on the 22nd of June 2020.
The DP doesn't get involved in underhand methods. We don't do things like that.
Ruling Patriotic Front PF youths have warned those intending to protest on the 22nd of June 2020 that they will meet them on the same streets. PF Lusaka Province Vice Youth Chairman Daniel Kalembe, aged 41, says it is also their democratic right to protest, hence the need to be part of those that will be protesting on that day. Mr. Kalembe, however, explains that their agenda will not be to denounce government, but to thank it over the massive developments achieved so far. Mr. Kalembe said this in an interview with the media Sunday morning.
But we know that Zambia does not only belong to Facebook bloggers. Zambia belongs to every Zambian youth. So we are saying that since now they have decided to take their protests from Facebook to come on the ground, they will come and meet us. Since we know that a lot of youths, they don't even blog. So we are going to express ourselves because we know that it's also our freedom of expression. Since even them, they are saying that it's their right, even as it's our right. Yeah. So on the 2nd of this month, we are going to participate. And we are directing, we are urging all our leaders, starting from the lower organ up to provincial level, to mobilize and prepare themselves to come and support the policies of Patriotic Front and developmental trajectory of under His Excellency Dr. Kachagwalungu. And we are saying that no and abash, because it's only when they are criticizing the leadership of this country and our head of state, it's when they always mobilize themselves and come up with their freedom of expression to protest. But we are saying now, enough is enough.
The Opposition United Party for National Development, UPND, has continued seeking answers from the authorities on the gassing incidents that had rocked the country a few months ago. UPND chairman in charge of mines, Percy Chanda, says the gassing story must not be allowed to die just like any other ordinary story, considering that those in the ruling party blamed the opposition of being behind the well-orchestrated evil scheme which affected people's lives. Mr. Chanda has asked the state to avail the nation with answers on who exactly was behind the activities which traumatized the entire nation. He says the silence from the state leaves behind a trail of speculations and people deserve answers. Mr. Chanda has also asked how much time the police need to conclude investigations in the matter. According to him, the police fully knows who were behind such evil acts and are simply protecting them. In February 2020, police arrested about 50 people in connection with the gassing incidents, while over 10 suspected gassers were killed in mob justice.
It's very clear that in PF, nobody cares and responsible enough to tell the nation the truth about gassing. By creating a vacuum, PF is inviting speculations. Whether true or false, people will naturally make their own conclusions. Since PF has remained mute on the issue that involved loss of lives, people have now safely concluded that there is something big that PF is hiding. Silence means consent. Be magnanimous and tell Zambians the truth. Otherwise, innocent people that were gassed will teach you a lesson in 2021 elections. Only the truth shall set you free.
Residents of Lusaka's Ballaston area have complained about the poor state of roads in their area. The residents have also complained about blocked drainages which pose dangers during the rainy season. The residents have since called on authorities who attended to their concerns. When contacted for a comment, Patriotic Front PF Mwembeshi Ward 27 Councillor Kelvin Kaunda assured the residents of government's commitment to tackling outstanding works in the area soonest.
Most shanty compounds in Lusaka have struggled with poor sanitation and damaged roads in their communities. Alas, Ballaston area has not been excluded. Ballaston residents have since raised concerns about the damaged Zingalume Road and the poor drainage systems that have been left without consideration for reconstruction over a long time. Speaking to Camnet TV News, the drivers and other business owners stated that ever since the road got damaged due to poor drainage systems, their businesses have been disturbed as people fear to reach their area.
For instance, over this road, we're complaining to say that government needs to pay more attention to us. Even when it rains, you find that water is filled up all over here, to a point that if someone had to sink, they could even drown. And if it's for the cars, they started stopping in front there. This side they're scared because the roads are bad and it might damage the cars. So for us, we're just asking the government to pay attention to our roads. Because even in the front there, you find that the road is extremely damaged. The whole part, this whole area, you find that the roads are damaged. If it's with the cars, you find that the suspension is getting damaged because of the same road. Even when we get on the buses, they drop us off far away because they are afraid of coming this far. As for the drainages, they don't make big drainages because if they did make big drainages, the roads wouldn't be getting damaged. The drainages are small. When they have the garbage that people throw in them, it blocks the drainages and the water cannot pass through. So when it comes to those things, we would want that the government that's there now, even as they are making in other places, even this side they must pay attention to us. They make some drainages for us, and once they make some drainages that are big, the roads will be safe. Everywhere where there is no road, the business will be affected. People who have cars, unless it's a customer who has a car, they will feel bad to drive their cars on this road. They won't even want to come through and see us this side. They will fail. They'll go to where the roads are nice. So even for our businesses, we're also affected because of the road, because of not having customs. And on top of that, you come to add issues of coronavirus. Everything just got worse. Our councillor isn't good, because our councillors on this side, there's nothing that they are doing.
They further charged that development for shanty communities should not only come during elections, instead should be considered when the need arises.
Others are complaining, obviously, because the state of someone being helped, it's supposed to be financially, economically, but economically, I feel like this road is not okay, so we're not helping him. Whoever is in charge, if their councillors let them work before elections, because we obviously know then maybe they might want to come because of the elections, but we want them to come before the elections and fix this road. Especially in the rain season, already they look like they are flooded there. So in the rain season, obviously, they become worse.
Meanwhile, when contacted for a comment, Mwembeshi Ward 27 Councillor Mr. Kelvin Kaunda had this to say.
Oh, my comment is that I share with the concerns of the residents. I think one doesn't have to be rocket scientists for them to know or rather appreciate that the state of the urban roads leaves much to be desired. We also want to just to assure the residents that there is every effort in trying to address that particular challenge. Our hope is that as we get into the phase 2 of the Lusaka decongestion project, the Narume Road will be one of the roads that will be worked on. So it's true that the state of the Narume Road is bad. We share with the concerns of the residents in there, but we also want to assure them that something is being done about it.
The residents are now fearing for their health and their businesses. As they say, where there is road, there is money, and health is wealth. Reporting for Camnet Television News, Tennyson Kaunda, Lusaka.
We now take a break. Join us shortly after this.
Savenda General Insurance Limited is a young and vibrant insurance company that is focused on changing the outlook of the insurance landscape.
At Savenda General Insurance, we believe in a quick settlement of claims because we believe the customer is the reason why we exist.
Such living proof motivates us to know that you can count on us to actually be there for you in times of need.
We have been able to pay claims of about 14 million pacha.
Savenda General Insurance Limited offers aviation, agriculture, marine, fire, motor vehicle, engineering and construction, and miscellaneous insurance.
Come and see what we're able to offer, what we can do. You will never be disappointed because we are here for you.
For further details, call us on 0211 250 278 or 0955 555744.
Welcome back. And finally, in our international news, Atlanta's police chief has resigned after the fatal shooting of an African-American man during an arrest. BBC reports that Rashad Brooks, 27, was shot by an officer during a struggle at a drive-through restaurant alert on Friday. On Saturday, protesters set fire to the Wendy's restaurant where the shooting occurred, and police chief Erica Shields handed in her resignation. Atlanta is one of the many U.S. cities where the killing of George Floyd by Minneapolis police sparked protests. Mr. Floyd, who is also African American, died after a white officer knelt on his neck for almost 9 minutes. His death has generated widespread anger against racism and police brutality. We monitored CBS News over the shooting. Here is a report.
By the time this video begins, a fight's underway. Two white cops wrestling with a black suspect. They're trying to subdue him, but clearly getting the worst of it. Damn! The suspect, by now holding one of the cops' tasers, runs. The second officer chases him, firing his taser. Seconds later, out of camera frame, what sounds like 3 gunshots. Oh! The dead man is 27-year-old Rashard Brooks. Police say he had failed a field sobriety test.
And these shoot him in the Wendy's drive-thru for no reason.
This second cell phone video shows the aftermath. Anger front and center.
I saw y'all talking to him for 20 minutes, dude. Unarmed. And you pull a gun, dude? Wow. Wow. I feel like both of your careers are definitely done.
I do not believe that this was a justified use of deadly force and have called for the immediate termination of the officer.
2 weeks ago, this use of force by Atlanta police brought widespread criticism. 6 officers smashed through a car window and repeatedly tased 2 college students. They had just left a protest supporting George Floyd. 4 officers were fired. All 6 now face criminal charges.
And finally, in sports, the Football Association of Zambia Saturday held a workshop to acquaint members of staff with the soon-to-be implemented FIFA domestic transfer matching system. Members of staff were run through the intricacies of the system that is a clone of the international transfer matching system by Registrar Eva Lengwe and other staff that are expected to fully implement the system. Among other topics covered were the FIFA player status, transfer trail of players, and mechanisms around the ITMS. Members were also given an intimation of the way academies may be protected for their investigations investments in player development. In closing the workshop, Head of Finance Owen Buntele, who spoke on behalf of the General Secretary, said the workshop was important as it was in tandem with the FIFA-approved strategic objectives. We've now come to the end of the main news, a recap of the top stories. Backlash looms between PF youths and protesters on 22nd of June 2020. Bhutan supporters attack Catholic Church. Poor drainage system irks Ballaston residents. In foreign news, Atlanta police chief resigns after the shooting of another black man. And in sports, FARS appraises members of staff on soon-to-be implemented FIFA DTMs. The Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of James 1 verse 5, and it says, "If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God, and that giveth to all men liberally, and upbraideth not, and it shall be given to him." Always remember to mask up, stay home, maintain social distancing in the fight against COVID-19. This has been Namwinga Mwinga. Until next time, good night and God bless you.